and welcome to Interview with an Author. Today we have Liam Jenkins, but due to difference in time zones, we decided to do a question and answer type video rather than sitting down and discussing. Enjoy Liam Jenkins and all of his answers. Question 1. Introduce yourself and your book.
Hi everyone, my name is Liam Jenkins. I am a self-published indie author, and I am in your month's April, your month subscription of Project Indie, which is a fantastic initiative that I'm really pleased to be part of. So, like I said, my name is Liam Jenkins. I am the author of a book called Dylan McFinn and the Sea Serpent's Fury. It's a book which is a series of about 5 books. I'm currently on the 3rd book, and the second book is Dylan McFinn and the Temple of the Four Winds. So if you enjoy the first book, then please check me out and look again at the second one. Abby has kindly put together some questions because, as you can tell by my accent, I'm based in the UK, and the time zones are a bit skew, so we can't really settle on our time, but she's kindly put together some questions for me to answer. So here goes, here are the questions. So,
Question 2. What inspired you to write your book?
What inspired me to write? Well, I've always had a vivid imagination. My dad used to read me stories when I was a kid. It wasn't so much the stories that he read to me, it was the fact that he used to make stories up. And the stories that he used to make up were fantastic, but the problem is that every time I went to bed the next day, he couldn't remember the story. So I wanted the same story that I had yesterday, but he couldn't remember them. So he would make up another story, and they were great. So that's kind of what inspired me to write. And I then I've got a very vivid imagination. I've always wanted to write, and it was just something that I thought, I'm going to give it a go. Dylan, that's how Dylan was born, really. So that kind of ties that question off.
Question 3. When did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
So next question. When did you first realise that you wanted to be a writer? Well, I'm in marketing, I'm in communication, so I'm always writing. But it's always stuff that really isn't what I'm interested in, or something which is for a client or something. So something that may be a bit dry, or a bit nondescript, or something which isn't really buzzing with me. So I thought, well, I enjoy writing, and I'm going to maybe start writing short stories. So I did, and then my stories then grew, and I've always had a love of an affinity with the ocean, and then I then developed Dylan, and it became from a novello. It then got bigger and bigger and turned into an actual novel, which I'm really pleased about and proud about.
Question 4. How long did it take to write your book?
So next question. How long did it take to write? Well, the first book took probably to actually sit down and write, it probably took about 18 months. But the planning itself took about, from start to finish, probably about 3 years. So it probably took about 3 to 4 years. Because it was my first book, I really wanted to research and then work out how to do it. So that's why it took so long. But the second one, purely writing, probably took me about 12 months. So and the first book was about 45,000 words, and the second was about 60. So you can kind of tell from that I'm now in a rhythm, and I can now pull these stories together relatively quickly.
Question 5. What has been your experience as an indie author?
Next question. What has been your experience as an indie author? Well, as an indie author, my experience has been pride, lots of adulation, and you are in control of what you do. You are in control of how you work, and you are in control of the pace you go. But the other side of that is that it is very time consuming, because it is you. You're the person doing the writing, you're the person who's doing the researching, you're the person who's doing the marketing, you're the person who's doing the selling, you're the person who's doing the website, the social media, all these things that are attributed to indie author or indie publishing. Writing itself is purely cathartic for me. I love it, but it is something which when you're an indie author, you have to take all these things into consideration, because you're everything. Whereas if you're with a publishing house or with your literary agent, they have teams of people that deal with that. So it's something to consider. Not saying it's bad or good, but that for me, that's my experience, is that it is everything. You are in control of everything, but you have to be involved with and it can be, you've basically got to fit it around your day-to-day.
Question 6. Why choose to publish indie?
Next question. What made you decide to publish indie rather than through a company? Well, the beauty of indie publishing is that the gatekeepers have been taken away, and everyone, well, I say everyone, publishing a book is actually incredibly hard, and it's not necessarily to do with the fact that it's writing the book. The writing of the book is actually, as its own entity, is very hard, but then trying to get it to a market which may enjoy it, or being accepted through submissions by an agency or a publishing house or a literary agent, is equally as troubling or as tough, because it can take a long time. So if you really want to, like me, you just wanted to get or try your hand at writing and get something published, then that's why I went the indie route, and it was something that I could do myself, research, look into, and now what I'm trying to do is actually use the work that I've done, or the book that I've created, to then use it as a selling tool to actually try and get me picked up by a publishing house or a literary agent. So who knows? But I think initially, if you're looking to just get a book out there or create something purely out of fun, then go the indie route. There are things like Amazon are out there which make life so much easier to actually develop one of these books and actually get them out to the market.
Question 7. Are you planning to, or have you written more?
Next question. Are you planning on writing more, or have you written more? Well, I've kind of covered that off in other questions, but yes, Dylan McFinn is in a planned series of perhaps 5 books, or maybe 6. I'm up to book 3, which is still in its infancy. I've only just started writing that book, but it's a journey which Dylan, seems to go through, and it's almost as if the way that I write, I see it as I'm a gardener, and that I'm planting things as I go. I know what's going to happen at the very end, but I don't know what's going to happen in between. So it's sort of meandering and taking its organic stage. So I'm going to continue to write, and when Dylan is finished, I do have plans for other stories, especially in the young adult genre and the middle grade. I think that's kind of where I'm at. I think that's my style. So fantasy, action, adventure, that's kind of what I'm good at. So that's what I'm going to continue to do.
Question 8. What do you want people to know about your book?
So next question. What do you want people to know about your book? Well, what I initially want people to know about my book is that if you're into action, adventure, fantasy, then this is definitely something for you, because it's something for all the family. The book itself is aimed at children between 7 to preteen, but people of all ages have enjoyed the book, from adults, to potentially younger, younger than 7. So it's something which is for the family. It's full of morals and dilemmas, and it's also full of family connection. It's also full of monsters and myths and magic and all those things that we all hold dear to our hearts when we're reading these sorts of things. So people have said it's a mixture between sort of Percy Jackson and Harry Potter. So if they're your sorts of go-to books, then this is definitely something that you'd enjoy. So please try Dylan, check it out, and see what you think. It's also got the eco style, or it's got eco issues within it. It's not a huge part of the book, but it does touch on it, and it does make reference to it and how the villagers of Meloto and how they deal with it. So that's kind of in a nutshell what my writing is, and what I want it to represent, and what I want it to do to people.
Question 9. If you could spend the whole day with an author, who would it be and why?
Next question. If you could spend the day with an author or another author, who would it be and why? I think it would be Terry Pratchett, because he was my go-to childhood author. When growing up, those were the books that I would read on a regular basis, and his imagination was amazing. He's unfortunately no longer with us, but in the UK, he was quite a prolific children's author, from more to Carpet People, to Strata, to Discworld. All those types of books were just the imagination and the character building and the world building was something that I could love to sit down and just take notes on how he does it and how he got his ideas. Terry Pratchett would be my guy that I'd like to talk to, and scoop out his brain and use that information.
Question 10. Is there anything you want to add?
Lastly, any comments that I'd like to add? Yes. Firstly, big thank you to Abigail for inviting me on being part of Project Indie. I'm so happy to be part of it. I'm so grateful as well. And also, please do check out my book. There's still spots left for the subscription in April. If you don't get a chance to get onto the subscription for April, then don't worry, you can still purchase my book on Amazon. .com or .co.uk, depending on where you're watching this, and my back catalogue is on there, which is the prequel, which is Battle of the River Chaos, Dylan McFinn and the Sea Serpent's Fury, and Dylan McFinn and the Temple of the Four Winds. So please go on there and check it out if you want to see what my writing's like. Go on to Goodreads, check out the reviews, see if they're your sort of thing. I'm happy to take questions if you want to contact me via my email address, via my website, or on the socials. I'm on Instagram, I'm also on Facebook. So do go on there and check it out. If I'd just like to add also that if reading isn't your thing, the books are also in Audible or audio book form. So they're on Audible. So if you want to listen to them, they've been narrated by a fantastic guy called Talisker White. No, not Talisker White, Talisker Little. So please go on there and check them out if reading isn't your thing, but you love stories. If you want to hear more from me, again, check me out on Instagram, check me out on Facebook, or go to my website, which is Liam, the official author, or the Chronicles of Dylan McFinn, and you'll be able to find me. All the very best, and thank you for having me. Cheerio for now.